mildly terrified that I'm going to catch flack from the internet for this one, but we did a short on it a couple weeks ago, so let's talk about why overtime is pretty much banned at Grow Disrupt. A couple years back, I hopped on a one-on-one call with one of my team members that I just hired maybe 3 months ago, and this team member was doing pretty good, so I wasn't expecting it to be anything unusual than our weekly one-on-one, except I got on the call and this person read me the riot act. So as I'm sitting there just trying to figure out what is happening here and listening and asking questions, I finally realized that what this person is really going off about is the fact that they have been working evenings and weekends and early mornings on their job that wasn't even a full-time job. And it took me a long minute to understand what was going on here, because I've always been very upfront with my team that I don't expect you to work outside of working hours. I don't expect you to work nights or weekends or early mornings. Like, there's very little that we do that is true emergency that requires response immediately. I've always told the team that I expect responses within a business day. So if something comes in end of day Friday, I don't have to hear back from you until end of day Monday. That is one business day. That's fine by me. I don't expect to hear back from you on the evenings or the weekends at all. Unfortunately, by the time we got to the end of that conversation, this person was a little bit more on board with it. But he said something that really struck me. He said,
"I've worked at companies that have given lip service to this. None of them have actually meant it."
I had one team member who was constantly pestering me to put her on a salary because she was always going over on allotted hours. So if she had a project that was supposed to be 10 hours, she would almost always take 12 to 14 hours to complete that project. So she kept coming to me saying, I need to be salaried. I need to be salaried. I don't want to log my hours. I don't want to keep going over on projects, which, first of all, just because you're salaried doesn't mean you don't get overtime anymore. Secondly, I straight up refused to put her on salary, not because I didn't want her to have a consistent paycheck or I didn't want her to have to log hours. If I put her on salary, I knew she was going to keep doing the same thing. She was going to keep working too many hours, but now I wasn't going to be able to track it. A lot of the work we do is project-based. So my team members will have so many hours to complete a task, which is usually fine, but every so often I'll find out that they have gone over on those hours, not logged them, and not told me, and I have almost always gone mental. And here's why. The problem with working overtime is that overtime equals exhausted. Exhausted equals ineffective. Ineffective equals lower quality and more effort. Now you tell me, why would I want a team that is working harder to give me lower quality? When I let my team work overtime, we end up putting out crappy products, and it takes more work to put out a crappy product. I have all but fought with my team over this one. I have put them in timeout. I don't think I've ever actually threatened to fire someone over this, but I have threatened to make them go, like, not work for a week in order to get it into their heads. I don't want them working this many hours. Apparently I have threatened to write people up over this one, but I haven't threatened to fire. Exactly. Here's the thing. I want to have a life outside of my work. I want my team to have a life outside of their work. I want, when they are working, to be working inside of their energy advantage and doing the things that they love and doing them effectively. I want us to be constantly evaluating what we put on our plates, what we eliminate from our plates, and how to make ourselves more effective. If I don't want to kill myself working way too many hours, I don't expect any of my team members to do the same. Now, I do have a quick caveat to this one. This is only going to work in a culture that truly puts them first. A culture that is psychologically safe. You can't use this as an excuse just to try and keep costs down and insist that, you aren't allowed to work overtime hours in order to not pay overtime, but then not take care of your team in every other way possible. We, as the business owners, have to reinforce that we care through more than just, hey, you aren't allowed to work overtime. Showing my team that I want them working on the things they enjoy working with that time goes a long ways towards proving that. Listening to my team when they have things to say to me, even if they get on one of our one-to-ones and read me the riot act. Giving them opportunities to do things they love, like letting one of my team members compose and produce a pop ballad. Giving them opportunities to weigh in on the company as a whole and feel listened to. Okay, so here's the deal. Your people spend 2/3 of their life at work. It's our job to make that a good experience for them, because what they deal with at work bleeds over into the rest of their life. And no one deserves for 2/3 of their life to really suck and then for that to bleed over into the last third. We have the opportunity as small business owners to make a major difference in the lives of those around us. So embrace it, and I'll challenge you. It may take time, but try getting rid of overtime at your company too.